There comes a moment in every woman's life when she realizes that becoming unforgettable has nothing to do with appearance or charm. It begins much deeper, in that quiet place inside her where self-respect finally awakens from years of sleep. And as you listen now, I want you to feel how something subtle rises within you, as if your soul is remembering a truth it once knew. Because to become the woman a man feels lucky to have is not about pleasing him. It is about returning to yourself. You've spent years thinking you needed to do more, soften more, give more, as if love were a reward for effort. But as Carl Jung said, your vision will become clear only when you look into your own heart. And this is the beginning. The moment you stop trying to be chosen and instead choose yourself. That inner choice creates a presence around you, a mystery, a depth, a boundary that cannot be explained, only felt. Men sense this shift instantly. They don't know why, but something in you becomes magnetic. Not loud, not demanding, simply undeniable. It's the quiet glow of a woman who no longer doubts her worth. A woman who doesn't chase, doesn't convince, doesn't shrink. She stands in her own life fully, and because of that, he rises to meet her. And maybe no one ever told you this, but the woman men don't walk away from is not the one who gives everything. She is the one who knows who she is. Her confidence is not painted on. It flows from the recognition that her presence is a privilege, not a guarantee. Jung believed that what we withdraw from others returns to us transformed. And when you withdraw your need for external validation, something extraordinary returns, your power. Feel it now. This silent, steady return to yourself. This is only the first step, but already the air around you begins to shift, because you are awakening the woman he feels lucky to have. The woman you were always meant to become. There is a certain kind of woman whose presence lingers in a man's mind long after she leaves the room. Not because she tries to impress, not because she performs, but because she carries herself with an inner gravity, a quiet certainty that she is whole even when no one is watching. And I want you to feel how this gravity begins to awaken in you now, gently yet unmistakably, like a pulse returning to life. For years, you were taught to be predictable, available, easy to understand. But as Carl Jung said, the meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. You are not here to dissolve into someone else's life. You are here to transform, and to be transformed, but never to lose yourself. The mystery that men never walk away from is not a performance. It is authenticity. It is the quiet refusal to explain your worth. It is the elegance of a woman who knows she can walk away and does not need to. Men feel this in your silence, in your pauses, in the way you no longer rush to fill emotional spaces that are not yours to fill. You begin to speak less and observe more. You begin to respond from depth, not insecurity. You no longer cling to potential, you watch reality. And this subtle shift, this calm self-possession, unsettles the kind of man who is used to emotional dependence. But it awakens the one who is ready for a woman of substance. And it is here, in this new stillness, that your gravity forms. Not heaviness, gravity. The force of a woman who knows her inner world is sacred. The woman he feels lucky to have is not a mystery because she hides. She is a mystery because she feels, deeply, selectively, consciously. Feel this truth anchoring inside you now. You're not becoming more complicated, you're becoming more real. And a real woman is unforgettable. There is a moment, quiet, almost imperceptible, when a woman stops chasing love and starts attracting it. And I want you to feel this moment inside yourself now. It's not dramatic. It's not loud. It's the soft realization that you no longer need to run after what is already meant to find you. You spent years stretching yourself to meet someone else's expectations, trying to prove your value through effort. But as Carl Jung said, what you resist persists. The more you chased, the more love slipped through your fingers, not because you weren't enough, but because chasing dissolves your power. Attraction, however, is different. Attraction is rooted in inner steadiness, in the knowledge that your presence has weight and your absence has consequences. The woman he feels lucky to have is not the woman who moves toward him first. She is the woman he moves toward because her energy calls him without a single word. And this energy is born from one truth. You no longer abandon yourself to be chosen. You begin to notice your own needs again. You stop apologizing for your desires. You stop rearranging your entire world for someone who makes no space for you in theirs. And this shift, this self-loyalty, changes everything. Men sense when a woman's center returns to her. They feel it in the way she no longer reacts emotionally to distance, in how she no longer clings to potential, in the quiet dignity with which she chooses herself before she chooses anyone else. This is not indifference. This is self-respect. And to a man who is emotionally mature, it is irresistible. There is nothing more magnetic than a woman who knows her worth and does not compromise it for temporary affection. Her calmness becomes the very thing that draws him closer. Her boundaries become the map he follows. Her presence becomes the place he longs to stay. Feel this truth settling into you now. You are no longer chasing. You are becoming the woman he feels fortunate to approach, and even more fortunate to keep. There is a point in a woman's evolution when she finally understands that her value is not something she must perform. It is something she must remember. And I want you to feel this remembrance waking in you now, like a soft but unwavering flame rising after years of being dimmed by doubt. For too long, you questioned yourself each time someone failed to see your worth. You wondered what more you could give, how much gentler you could be, how much louder you needed to love for someone to finally understand you. But as Carl Jung said, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. And who you truly are has never needed to beg for recognition. The woman he feels lucky to have is the woman who no longer bargains with her own spirit. She doesn't measure her value through another person's inconsistency. She doesn't shrink herself to fit someone's emotional immaturity. She stands rooted, calm, with a quiet knowing that she brings depth, presence, and meaning wherever she goes. This self-awareness is not arrogance. It is alignment. And men feel this alignment instantly. They feel it in the way you no longer ask twice. They feel it in how you no longer explain what should be obvious. They feel it when your silence becomes a mirror reflecting their own effort or lack of it. This is the moment when your energy shifts from trying to prove something to simply being someone. And that being has gravity. It has elegance. It has weight. It makes him pause, reconsider, approach with more care, more intention, more clarity. Because a woman who knows her worth becomes the standard, not an option. Your presence begins to separate the mature from the unready, the serious from the inconsistent, the man who sees you from the man who only sees himself. You stop accepting the minimum because your soul finally recognizes the magnitude of what you offer. And this recognition transforms the way he sees you, too. He begins to realize that being close to you is not something he can take lightly. It is a privilege, one he must rise to meet. Feel this truth in your chest now. You are not becoming more demanding. You are becoming more you. And the woman who stands firmly in her worth becomes unforgettable. There comes a profound moment in a woman's life when she realizes she no longer needs to announce her standards. She simply lives them. And I want you to feel that moment settling into your body now, quietly, confidently, like a truth you always knew but never fully claimed. Because the woman he feels lucky to have is not the woman who demands respect. She is the woman whose very presence requires it. For too long, you tolerated inconsistencies, excused poor behavior, softened your expectations so you wouldn't push him away. But as Carl Jung said, people will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own soul. And many men avoid their own soul until they stand in front of a woman who refuses to lower herself to meet their shadows. Your standards are not walls, they are clarity. They don't repel the right man, they reveal him. And men sense this clarity in you instantly. They sense it in the way you no longer overextend yourself. In the way your yes actually means yes, and your no is final. In the way you no longer chase after explanations or settle for uncertainty. Your emotional world becomes something sacred, something that cannot be accessed through charm or promises, but only through consistency and depth. And this, more than anything, separates you from every woman he has ever known who confused giving with losing. You begin to expect what you offer: presence, intent, consistency, honesty, not because you are demanding, but because this is who you are. And this is what shifts everything. Your standards are not spoken, yet he feels them. They wrap around you like an aura he cannot ignore. They make him rethink his approach, his effort, his intentions. They make him realize that to be close to you requires maturity, emotional responsibility, and growth, and that anything less will quietly lose access to your world. Jung believed that a person must confront their shadow before they can truly love, and your standards awaken that confrontation in him. They force him to rise or step aside, to evolve or release you. And the beautiful truth? You no longer fear either outcome. Because a woman who truly knows her worth does not hold onto what requires her to shrink. She holds onto what expands her. And this alone makes her rare, the kind of woman a man feels lucky, honored, and deeply grateful to have. There is a kind of mystery that doesn't come from hiding who you are. It comes from finally becoming who you are. And I want you to feel this mystery awakening in you now, gently unfolding like a truth that was waiting for permission to breathe. Because the mystery men never walk away from is not built from games or silence. It is built from depth. For so long, you believed that mystery meant being distant, unavailable, hard to read. But the truth is far simpler. Mystery is the byproduct of a woman whose inner world is rich, alive, and not easily shaken. A woman who does not place her entire identity in someone else's hands. A woman who feels whole even when she stands alone. As Carl Jung said, the most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. And it is precisely this acceptance, this internal completeness, that becomes the quiet force drawing him toward you. He feels your mystery not because you withhold, but because you are rooted. He feels it because your emotions are not up for negotiation. He feels it because you don't attach yourself to every man who enters your life. You choose, selectively, consciously, intentionally. And this terrifies the unready. But it awakens the man who is meant for you. Your mystery is in your depth, in the way you think, feel, pause, observe. In how you no longer rush to fill the silence or rescue him from his own insecurities. In how your presence carries questions he longs to explore, rather than answers he takes for granted. A woman like this does not reveal her heart in one breath. She unfolds slowly, steadily, like pages in a book worth reading. And a man senses that to truly know her, he must show up, consistently, sincerely, fully. This is the moment when he stops taking you lightly. This is when he steps forward with intention. This is when he realizes that losing access to your inner world would be one of the greatest losses of his life. Because a woman with mystery is a woman with boundaries. A woman with depth is a woman with power. A woman who is whole is a woman he feels profoundly lucky to have. And what makes you unforgettable is not what you show, but what you no longer give away to those who haven't earned it. There is a turning point in every connection where a man realizes he must either rise to meet the woman before him or quietly lose her. And I want you to feel the power of that turning point awakening within you now. Because the woman he feels lucky to have is not the woman who accepts potential. She is the woman who inspires evolution simply through the way she exists. For years, you lowered yourself to meet men where they were. You softened your needs, quieted your voice, dimmed your hopes, believing that love required patience without limits. But as Carl Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. And now you see the truth. What you accepted shaped what you received. The woman you are becoming no longer accepts half-formed effort. She no longer bends to accommodate immaturity. She no longer entertains a man who does not grow. Your presence becomes a silent invitation, a mirror that forces him to see who he is and who he could become. Men feel this deeply. They feel it in your calmness, in your refusal to argue for what should already be understood, in your ability to step back without drama when someone refuses to step forward. This is not punishment. This is self-preservation. This is evolution. A mature man sees your strength and feels inspired. A wavering man sees your strength and feels exposed. And both reactions tell you exactly who they are. Your energy begins to filter men without effort. Those who cannot rise will drift. Those who are ready will adjust. And the one meant for you will not need reminders. He will respond to your presence with genuine transformation. Because a woman who knows her worth does not demand growth, she invokes it. Your emotional steadiness becomes his anchor. Your standards become his motivation. Your consistency becomes the structure within which he can finally become the man he always wanted to be. And he feels lucky, deeply lucky, not because you save him, but because you require him to save himself. Jung believed that true relationships are alchemical, two souls meeting in a way that transforms both. And your presence becomes the catalyst for this transformation. Feel this power now. You are no longer asking anyone to rise. You are simply rising yourself, and the right man will rise with you. There is a rare and unmistakable power in a woman who carries calm inside her, a calm not born from indifference, but from deep inner alignment. And I want you to feel that calm beginning to take root in you now, almost like a slow exhale after years of holding your breath. Because the woman he feels lucky to have is not the one who absorbs his chaos, but the one who refuses to let it shape her. For too long, you made his storms your responsibility. You softened every wave, soothed every wound, held together what was never yours to hold. But as Carl Jung said, a man who has not passed through his own inferno has never overcome it. And now you understand that you cannot walk into someone's emotional fire and expect to return unburned. The woman you are becoming no longer sacrifices her peace to manage someone else's turmoil. She listens without absorbing. She observes without dissolving. She consoles without carrying. And this subtle but powerful distinction changes the entire dynamic. Men feel it instantly, the shift from chaos responder to calm keeper. They feel it when you no longer overreact to their uncertainty, when you no longer take responsibility for their moods, when you no longer lose your center trying to stabilize someone who has not yet learned to stabilize himself. This calmness is not withdrawal. It is mastery. It is self-knowledge. It is inner sovereignty. A woman with inner calm becomes the rarest presence in a man's life, not because she suppresses her emotions, but because she honors them. Her peace is not fragile, it is intentional. She speaks thoughtfully. She acts purposefully. She loves consciously. And suddenly, something profound happens. He feels safe with you, not because you fix him, but because your energy calls him to fix himself. Your peace becomes the mirror reflecting where he must grow. Your stability becomes the standard he strives to meet. Your groundedness becomes the anchor he never knew he needed. Jung taught that the psyche seeks equilibrium above all else. And your calmness, your refusal to lose yourself in anyone's emotional storm, creates that equilibrium, calling forth the best in the man who truly values you. Feel this truth settling into you now. You are no longer the woman who breaks herself to soothe others. You are the woman whose presence brings clarity, depth, and stability. And this makes you unforgettable, the woman he is proud, grateful, and deeply fortunate to have. There comes a moment in your transformation when a man stops seeing you as someone who is simply there and starts seeing you as someone he must consciously choose. And I want you to feel that shift taking shape inside you now, subtle, powerful, undeniable. Because the woman he feels lucky to have is not chosen out of comfort or proximity. She is chosen out of recognition. For so long, you accepted attention disguised as affection, effort disguised as interest, presence disguised as commitment. You let inconsistency pass as passion because you believed that love required patience, even when that patience drained you. But as Carl Jung said, we meet ourselves time and again in 1,000 disguises on the path of life. And now you recognize the pattern. Accepting less than you deserve mirrored the parts of you that forgot your worth. Not anymore. The woman you are becoming no longer entertains half-hearted effort. She no longer responds to convenience. She doesn't reward someone simply for showing up when it suits them. Her energy is too precious for that. Her time is too meaningful. Her presence is too rare. And men feel this immediately. They feel it in the way you no longer rush to reply, not to play games, but because you're no longer centered around someone else's rhythm. They feel it in your absence, an absence that now carries more weight than your presence once did. They feel it when they realize that you are no longer waiting, hoping, or holding space for someone who has not earned it. Your new self is not cold. She is selective. She is intentional. She is aligned. The right man will not fear this version of you. He will rise to meet her. He will step forward with clarity, not hesitation. With effort, not excuses. With sincerity, not ambiguity. And he will choose you not because he is afraid to lose you, but because he understands the depth of what he gains by choosing you. This is the moment when the dynamic changes, when you stop being the woman who accepts whatever love is offered and become the woman who defines what love must be. Jung believed that what we choose reflects who we are becoming. And now you choose differently, and so does he. Feel this truth strengthening you. You are no longer an option in someone's story. You are the chapter he refuses to skip, the presence he refuses to lose, the woman he feels profoundly fortunate to call his. There is a final transformation, the one that completes everything you have awakened within yourself. It is the moment when you no longer try to be the woman he fears losing, because you have become the woman he feels grateful to keep. And I want you to feel that truth settling gently into your soul now, like the last piece of a puzzle clicking into place. For years, you lived in a quiet tension, giving, hoping, waiting, trying to hold a love that did not always hold you back. You believed that your worth was something you needed to earn, something fragile, something dependent on someone else's recognition. But as Carl Jung said, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. And now, finally, you are becoming her. The woman who doesn't beg for reciprocation. The woman who doesn't fear endings. The woman who doesn't lose herself to keep anyone close. Your energy begins to speak louder than your words ever did. A man feels the difference in the way you move through the world. Calm, centered, whole. He senses that while you may want him, you do not need him to complete you. And this emotional independence becomes the very reason he stays. Because there is nothing more compelling to a mature man than a woman who chooses him freely, not out of emptiness but abundance. He feels lucky because he knows you don't attach out of fear, and you don't remain out of habit. You remain because he adds to a life you are already proud of. You remain because he contributes to a peace you built for yourself. You remain because your heart is open, not desperate. And here is the quiet secret. Men stay where they feel inspired to become better, not pressured. They stay where loyalty is mutual, not demanded. They stay where love flows, not where it must be proven. You have become that place, that calm, powerful presence that elevates more than it consumes. A woman who gives from fullness, not depletion. A woman who embodies depth, dignity, and emotional truth. Jung believed that when a person integrates their shadow and light, they become whole. And you are standing in that wholeness now, soft but strong, open but discerning, loving but never losing yourself. This is the woman he feels blessed to walk beside. This is the woman he protects, cherishes, and chooses again and again. This is the woman who no longer fears being replaced, because she knows she is irreplaceable. And now, your journey continues.